Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our admin who gave us this translation. So the message, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? My brother, I am a young South African man who has always been an entrepreneur. So I then started working for this other man. He was from Zim. This man, he offered me a good deal. So he has been involved in this thing of Bolt, and he buys cars and they then place them on Bolt. So it's like you do a rent to buy from him. Once you have given him enough money, then the car will automatically become yours. So then when I got to drive one of his cars, he also told me that he wanted to offer me that same deal because he saw that I was a hard worker and all that I was lacking in life, it was just an opportunity. So I started working as a Bolt driver, but life was very difficult because when I'll be calculating the time that I was going to finish paying him up, this was going to take me at least a year and a few months. So then I ended up telling myself that I needed to find quick cash. I had tried to work day and night, but you could see that the money, it was not flowing in like the way that I wanted this money to flow in. And I never thought that my life was going to turn out like this. My name is Tabo, not his real name, and I am a Bolt driver here in my country, and I am driving here in Johannesburg. Like most of us, we really start small, just like everyone, with your one car, but business was becoming very tough. Those that were lucky were the ones that started. Those were the ones that were able to do this rent to buy. But now it's like everyone just wants to have his own car. So the competition, it is just too much, especially with all of this competition. You could even barely make enough to pay the bills, to fix the car, let alone to save for the future. Always chasing the target. That is what I used to do. But all of it changed. When it changed, this was last year in February. On that day, it was after me and my wife, we had a very big argument over the phone. I was really bored throughout the day, but it was an ordinary day apart from the fight that I had with my wife, or so I thought. That was when I got a request. I picked up a client. This client was in Hillbrow. He was an older man. He was just dressed up, but you could tell that from the way that he was dressed up, this was like a traditional man, a Zangoma. We then started making small talk during the ride, and then I got to know that this man, he was not South African, but he was from Zim. So me and him, we kept on talking and talking. He was asking me how business was. When we got to his destination, he did not get out immediately. He took his time to pay me. Instead, he looked at me for a while and said something that shook me. He said that, let me prophesy, can I do that? And I said, please prophesy. And he told me that you are a struggling young man, but I can help you to become rich. You will own more Bolt cars than you can imagine. This thing that you are doing of renting to buy, it is only going to waste your time. Let me tell you, young man, your destiny is calling you. You are not meant to work for anyone. You are meant to work for yourself. People to work for you, and you're going to be rich. Just allow me to help you. When this man gave me that prophecy, that was all that I needed. After my wife had told me that I was a nobody in her life. So I did not take him seriously, but I was shocked as to how he had known that I was struggling. I thought that maybe he was just generalizing things I had heard about these sangomas, the way that they look at you. It's like they are good at psychology. They can study a person and they can just guess that this person is facing such a situation in their life. I had heard about these things before and I had never believed them. But as he spoke, something inside of me, it was like it changed. I was desperate and I wanted a better life. He told me to meet up with him a week later in that week, and he would give me what he said, a lucky charm, a simple lucky charm to keep in the car, in the boot of the car. This charm, he said, was going to attract wealth and success, but there was one rule: no woman was allowed to touch it. Only I was allowed to handle it. After I would have knocked off, when I returned back home, I had to take it out of the boot of the car and I had to find a place to hide it, so much that my wife was not supposed to see or to touch it. A week later, I met him, and true to his word, he handed me a small cloth that was a wrapped bundle and told me to keep it in the boot of my car. He warned me again and he said, "No woman is ever to touch this. Do you understand, my boy?" And I said, "Yes, I do understand." I followed his instructions to the letter. From that moment onwards, my life changed. Suddenly, I saw that I was making a lot of money. I started earning more than I had ever thought possible. And within a few months, I was able to pay off that car. Even the owner of the car, he was surprised, and he said that this money, I hope that it is not going to attract police to me, because that is the last thing that I want. I told him that this was genuine money. I was not involved in any criminal activities. That was when I was able to buy another second-hand car, then a third. By the end of the year, I was already owning 10 Bolt cars, and I was making serious money, even though some of these cars I was buying them at the auctions, fixing them up and just bringing them back onto the road. But the progress, it was just too much. The progress, one could see that there was more to it. It was more like it was spiritual. But something strange happened. This was a few months ago. My wife, who didn't know about the charm, like, these women, the moment that you start to make money, the more that they start to sneak around trying to catch you cheating. So I had parked one of my cars, and I had told her not to touch the car. Maybe that is the mistake that I did. So I went to sleep. When I went to sleep, I think as she was sitting down watching Netflix, she was like, "This dude, why did he say that I'm not supposed to touch his car keys?" She then took the car keys that I had left on the coffee table. She rushed to the car and she started acting as if she was helping me to clean the car. She opened the boot, and before I could even wake up, I saw her in my dreams as she was opening up the boot. That was when she touched the cloth and opened it up. I panicked as I woke up and I rushed outdoors, and she asked me what the hell was that which was inside the boot of my car. And I just said, "No, this is just something that I was given from the Red Garment Prophet Church here, but the guys, they are from Zim," and I did not say anything more. I was just praying in my heart that nothing was going to happen. Throughout the day, I could not even eat. I was nervous. I was stressed. The next day, I went out. This other girl that I wanted to take out, whilst we were sitting at the back of my car, she was like, "Do you feel like there is something that is moving in the boot of your car?" And I could not hear or feel anything. She was just like, "It is very weird." And she was even scared to make love to me in the car. Well, I dropped her off. I was disappointed. And when I returned back home, that was when something told me to open the boot. When I opened the boot, that was when I saw that the cloth bundle, it had turned itself into a snake. It was a small snake at first, but it was alive and it was moving up and about in the boot of my car. I said, "What the hell is this?" I was terrified. I then tried to hide it from my wife. At that time, always staying in the boot of my car, but the snake started growing. Each and every day it got bigger until I did not know what to do. I then started another business which is booming. I also own a franchise now. This happened within a very short period of time. The snake told me that I was supposed to find another accommodation. So right now, in a gated community, there is this other apartment that I am renting out. It is just barely empty, and that snake, I placed it there. My wife does not even know that I am now doing this secret. That Sangoma warned me, he had warned me never to let a woman touch it. Now, because my wife did, the charm is more like a curse. This snake, it's either it is in the boot of my car or in that apartment. What worries me? Please help me. It is growing and I don't know how big it will get. I have tried calling the Sangoma and he has disappeared. I am stuck with this snake and I am afraid that one day it will become too big to control, so much that I will need to lift it up with a forklift. As for now, I am feeding it with live chickens. I am always traveling in the plots where they are keeping these white chickens. I buy them. At least I buy one or two. Then I go with it to the apartment and I give the snake and it eats. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our admin who gave us the translation of this message. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Yo.